We got Travis here today. What did you do, son, at the weekend?
I got my invite for Euros, playing the best deck in the room.
What was the best deck in the room today?
It was a 60 card Paleo pile.
Very nice. Any shout outs before we start?
Shout out to Josh Schmidt for always playing Paleo. Shout out to Mini Fez and the rest of the Red Lotus boys. And shout out to Dan Kelly for nearly making us crash the car on the way to the event. Hashtag break. We'll start off, so it's 60 cards. We'll start with the monsters. So we played 3 copies of Soldier Dragon and 1 copy of Laundry Dragon. So the Soldier Dragon basically is some of the new technology that's being used for Paleo, where sometimes they will interrupt your Paleos, so you need a card that gets another body onto the board, and Soldier Dragons allows you to do that. So they'll sometimes just waste hand traps on this as well. Like someone Ash Blossom this, and I was like, sure, Morel, it protects my Morella now. We played 1 of the Soul. This is one of the new cards from Info. It's good, but it's not good enough that I want to play 3 of it. It's kind of awkward to get to, so you have to play Sprint to get to it. But it's just really good having that recursive level 2 body, and you can do some funny stuff in your opponent's battle phase if you want to.
Would you not consider playing 2?
No, absolutely not.
Makes sense.
You'll see sort of fairly shortly why I don't want to play too many monsters. I think this is already too many monsters, to be fair. I'm playing 2 Backjack. I have this really good skill of just always drawing Backjack, like in multiples. So I'm playing 2 because I just don't want to see it as much, and we can send it to the grave. It's not the best draw. It's cool to like link it off and do things like that, and its graveyard effect is insane. But it's just not worth like the bricks. Like you need to be seeing trap cards or you're just going to die. So this is all the monsters that I played in the main deck. Now we'll go on to the spells. There's quite a lot of spells in this list, sort of more than what's normal for the 60 card deck. So we played 3 of the Pot of Greed, where you discard a trap cost from hand and draw 2, and then it can put back one of your banished traps. This card's really good. I played 3 copies of Desires, just a neg 9, innit?
Well, where are your QCRs, bro?
Oh, they're in the post. In the post, that's where they are.
Very nice.
I like this because you can lean Coelier, put back one of the banished cards. So this is just like the middle 10th from your deck, basically, at that point.
Easy.
We play Card Demise because it feels so good when you just go Card Demise. Oh, it's such a feel-good card, and it's broken.
Facts.
And then we play Monster Gate and Reasoning. This card is very good because you play so little monsters that you're just going to mill cards. If they say 2, it's fairly cringe. To say 1, you don't care because you want Backjack in the grave anyway, so they just save a step for you. This card was kind of weird because you don't always open a monster to use it. Sometimes you have to hold this, not die, and then when you have a Paleo body, just use this on the follow-up, basically.
How many times did you hit 1?
I hit Trap Card Backjack once. I think the best reasoning I had was like for 15, which was really good. Milled like a lot of Paleo names. That's it for the spells. I probably wouldn't change anything. I'd maybe consider cutting this, but I do really like it. It's fine though because banlist soon, reasoning's coming back, so it's all good. It's at 3 in my So now the trap card, trap portion of the deck, which is basically the entire deck. So 3 copies of Romanoides. So it's just 3 of all the Paleo, like all the good Paleos. There's not much to say about these. It's a Paleozoic deck. You need them in the grave. Morella's like probably the best one. This one's also very good. The others are so-so. The Tenpai matchup is awful because you can't really use most of these against Tenpai. But it is what it is. You're just trying to survive, basically. And we played 3 rollback, obviously. Copying traps is cracked. 3 trap trick, this card's insane. 3 Noodlebug's Nest, mill 5, I don't think we need to explain that, it's fairly standard. 3 Fiend Griffin. This card is very cool. You don't have to send a Fiend monster if you run out of Backjacks, you can still use it, so you can effect, which comes up. Karma Cannon is probably the single best trap in the deck. It's how we don't die. I played against the Traptrix player, and I think I must have doing the cannon far too many times. It was a bit dirty, to be honest. Some Revokus, we need a higher rarity of this, but Shatterfoily would be best. And then some Rise to Full Heights. These are just so we don't die, basically. There's not much more to say about that. It's cool that you can use Revoku on your own turn as well, which is why it's a little better than Threatening Roar. Very cool. And then this card overperformed like crazy.
What's it do, G?
So, you target a face-up monster your opponent controls that was special summoned from the extra deck, and changes its attack to 0 and negates its effects. And then, sort of similar to Lost Wind, if they summon from extra deck, and it's in grave, except the turn it was set there, you get to reset it, which is very cool. I really like this card. This won me one of my games versus Tenpai by making a Curry Belts attack 0, which was very cool, so they couldn't kill me. Then only 2 IDP. I have a love-hate relationship with this card, where sometimes it's insane and then sometimes it's awful, and you can only use it once per turn, so I just didn't want to open 2 of it, which is why there's only 2 here for traffic purposes. And then you can also summon back the soul. When you use this to summon a monster, because you're summoning a monster by a trap effect, which is also cool. And then 2 Balance of Judgment. This is such a feel-good card. Versus the Voiceless player I played, I booked their board, and they just kept playing and activating cards for the sake of it and placing with low. So at one point they had like every zone on their board was full, and I just go Balance of Judgment, draw. It felt like I drew forever. It was ridiculous.
Oh no!
And then they just couldn't get back in. Yeah, then they just lost. And then this card, the interaction with this and rollback is so silly.
Because Bolt boxes, take that out of.
This was an eBay £6 common. That's ridiculous.
Oh god.
And then 1 Black Goat Laughs. This card is in theory very good, but when you see it in multiples, it feels really bad because it's not even like you can just trigger it to trigger a Paleo. But it is nice just having it to send to grave with Morello if you want to. And like sometimes you can have access to it for Tenpai if you're scared of Black Rose, because sometimes they'll just Black Rose your board and you have, unless you have graveyard set up, you just die. So if you can outgrind Tenpai, you can outgrind anything. So that's the main deck. We'll go into extra deck next. So we've got some Link monsters. We've got Anima, which is for the backjack. Sometimes they play into the column and it's fine. This clogged up my extra monster zone quite a lot though, so I'm not a massive fan of Anima, but you have to play it. SP came up once. It's just a good card. This card is very, very good because you can sort of establish a gigantic sprite. If they impermanence your Opabenia, use Chain and Paleo summon back, and then make this. Use this effect, send another set card or one of your dead cards, set a Paleo, use it, get another Paleo name back, and then make a gigantic sprite and have access to stuff. So this is cool. This card it really underperformed actually. This is just to send the soul to the graveyard pretty much, but it's probably coming out going forwards. I didn't really like it that much. And then we've got a lot of XYZs. We have the Mosquito, Funny Zeus plays, Funny Soul plays, where you can make this in your opponent's battle phase and force them to kill themselves. But stop hitting yourself. 2 Zeuses, you need to play 2. It came up for me a lot actually, the second Zeus. Typhon, you might as well play it, you have the space, and it's just a good card. 2 of our boss monster and 2 of our mini boss monster. These cards are crazy. Once this is established, you just start drawing so many cards with its second effect that you just sort of stall until you can establish a little bit of advantage, and then you just snowball them. This is for the Zeus. This is just to get bodies from deck, and this is just because you can.
He's just a happy boy.
Just happy in it. And then for the side deck, the only relevant thing really was D-Barrier. That's the only thing I really sided in, to be honest. It's just for Tenpai and other matchups. Witcher Strike, because I knew there was some Voiceless in the room, I was like, I'll play Witcher Strike and it could come up. We didn't get to a game 2, we played like a 48-minute game 1 with Voiceless because my opponent just didn't know what their cards did apparently. So I was having to explain what their own cards did to them, which slowed the game down quite a lot.
Love Yu-Gi-Oh players, we can't read.
It was great, yeah. And then this card, in theory it's good, but I might take this out just because sometimes it doesn't, unless they're bad and play into it and just get rid of resources. Like, it saves you one turn, which is fine, but I don't know if I like it enough. There might be something else I could find. The really cool thing about this deck is that because it's like a normal trap deck, every new set we get has some sort of normal trap or random janky like gimmick cards that could be good in Paleo, so we just get to keep experimenting and changing it. This is just because this deck is very slow and there is a time condition in Yu-Gi-Oh unfortunately that doesn't really support this deck. So for game 2 you just can't leave rollback in. It's just not possible unless you're playing against like Tenpai, which is funny enough that those games are over very fast because they either play through all their engine and have nothing left and just accept that they're going to lose, or it's very very grindy, or you just lose quickly. So then you can like sort of put these in later. These are probably coming out. I didn't like them that much. It just felt like a bit of a wasted spot. And then I have 3 copies of Buru Game. Because Duster and Lightning Storm are in like every single side deck in this area anyway, and it's nice not automatically losing to those cards. So there was one time when I got dusted, but I had a set rollback, and I was like, now my rollback's live.
Yes.
But yeah, that's the deck. It's very fun to play, and it sort of promotes a different kind of play style. Because it's very sort of stunning and technical, and you sort of have to know the choke points of certain decks, otherwise you can just get randomly BM'd by them.